No, really happy with the start. Start out 1-0 against a Big 12 opponent. Happy for our players. Coaches worked really hard, put a lot of time and effort into that, so very happy. Was also really excited to see our fans show up in Houston. I love the turnout for Rebel Nation. Really fun after the game to see our players and our fans interacting together, and thought there was a lot of energy provided from our fans, so really excited about that. Some of the positives coming out of the game were obvious with Scotty Phillips. Really happy to see him get off to that start. I've been excited about what I've seen with him through spring and fall camp, but happy to see him have that type of start. Jordan looked very comfortable and spreading the ball out to all the receivers, so that was really positive. Thought the O-line protected and played really well. Had a couple of breakdowns, but for the most part, they played really good. Defensively, I thought our communication was better. I saw a lot of communication coming from the senior safeties to our linebackers. I thought that was better after watching the tape. Just the confidence and the retention was good. From the kicking game, really pleased with Luke Logan. In his first time starting, in a very, I guess, a big environment, he did really well. Some of the improvements I thought we need to make. Red zone offense, when we get down there, we got to score points. We had opportunities. We just got to make plays down there. I didn't think it was anything schematically. I just think it's us executing and making the plays that are there to be made. Defense getting off the field on third down. I thought that was a big thing for us. There's a couple of times we had opportunities to get off the field on third down that would eliminate long scoring drives. So I think third down and then fitting our runs a little bit better. Just our run fits. They had a few of our run fits we need to clean up, especially in the red zone. We just had some MAs there. Thought obviously the kickoff return was a positive, but there were some kickoff coverage breakdowns. We had 9 or 10 kickoff coverages. I think we got to clean up some areas there. So, but overall, good win. It's always you always make your biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2, but it's good to be able to do that in a win. Coming out injury situation, the biggest injury, Jalen Jones. He does have a torn ACL. We got the MRI back. He'll have surgery on Friday. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him. He'd had a phenomenal camp and just had worked really hard. So that was one to note. Cavante Ruggs is in the concussion protocol, and so he'll be day to day. And that's the same with DeMarcus Lodge. Reported some symptoms yesterday morning. So DeMarcus Lodge will also be in the concussion protocol. He'll be day to day. Sean Rawlings had a shoulder and a knee, but he'll be probable. I think I would look for him to play and just probably be limited some in practice this week, but we'll play. Moving on, really excited to get home. Home openers are great. Just fired up to get back into the Grove and play in front of our home fans, and excited about that. Excited about the challenge with Southern Illinois. Had a big win over Murray State, 49-10. Pretty impressive to get anytime you get 6 turnovers and 3 for scores. It's very impressive. Have a senior quarterback, really good running back. Have a wide receiver, Raphael Leonard from here in Mississippi. So I'm sure he'll be fired up and need to be ready to go. But excited for the challenge. Excited to be back home.
All right, raise your hand if you have any questions. We'll bring the microphone to you. Who wants to go first?
I'm sure you spoke to some of the recruits there at the game. What was their reaction, the excitement between the game and y'all?
No, it's so September 1st is the first day that we can actually send out text to 2020 recruits, and the first time we're able to actually call the 19 recruits. So anytime, on a big win, you're able to, text and call and try to capitalize on that momentum. But there was a lot of positive feedback, on the white uniforms. A lot of positive feedback from it was good to get that win and get that momentum going early. But yeah, a lot of positive feedback in recruiting.
Man, it looked like the defense coming off the field was excited about what they were doing. There was a lot of enthusiasm where maybe last year they were hanging their heads, not as confident. But did you feel that as also?
I did, and it's funny that you mentioned that in the team meeting yesterday. I think you can tell a lot by a team when you watch the sideline. You can tell who's into it, who's not. We had a 1 3rd down stop where we paused it and the defense was on the sideline. They were jumping around and just they were into it. So I think that was good. There was another play when Lodge cracked back when A.J. Brown had the ball. You could see Eric Sweeney on the sideline just fired up and into it. And that to me was maybe my favorite play, just because you see a guy that's had so much adversity but still being into it and being fired up for his teammates. I was excited to see that.
Matt, you spoke in the offseason about the depth of the secondary with Jalen being out now. 2 things. One, are you still as comfortable loading the box to help stop the run? And who are candidates? What might that rotation look like now?
Well, I think with the immersion of Keydron Smith, he played a bunch on special teams and got in some. I think he'll have to fill a role there, but I still feel comfortable with Miles Hartsfield and Jay Ham, and then we'll get Webster coming back full strength. Then you have Keydron. So I do think we have a lot of people that are capable there. Where it hurts us the most is Jalen was able to come back and play safety if we had some injuries there. That's where it maybe hurts us a little bit more with our flexibility, more so than just our corner depth. But Jalen Julius played really good in the game, so really happy to see that. So we are pretty deep at corner, so that helps there. But we're going to have to figure out, if injuries do occur, what happens with safety. That'll probably be Miles Hartsfield, moving back into that area.
So nothing changes with loading the box and doing some things like that?
No, we still feel very comfortable where we are, and I think the guys they go against every day in practice gives you that confidence to be able to do that.
Do you go with Elijah Moore at kickoff return in Jalen's place?
Yeah, so Elijah Moore, and then you may see Tyler Knight, but Elijah Moore would be there at kickoff and punt return to start with. Not right now, no.
Questions?
I thought your star position played very well. Custis, who's really not been a factor for 2 years, and all of a sudden he is, and Dasher, speak about that position.
Yeah, I was asked about that after the game. What was Custis? I think Custis is prepared well. I think he's really grown up a lot. Kind of made a big deal about him changing his number just to get on special teams. It just kind of goes to show how much he's grown up as a person, but also the way he prepared. And I think Vernon Dasher also prepared very well and was able to step in there. They both played a bunch on special teams, and Vernon being able to get quality reps helped Custis stay fresh in the 4th quarter. You saw him make a big play down there on 4th down. So I think a combination of having the depth to be able to play 2 guys there, but then also the way that he is prepared.
How did Ben Brown do in his first start, and also how Royce Newman got a lot of time behind Greg and Alex?
Yeah, I was proud of him. That there was some freshman mistakes to be expected. He was very, very excited early on, but overall for the first game he played really, really well, especially being in a big environment away from home. I thought he did well. There were some things obviously you got to clean up with him and Royce both, but nothing glaring. They obviously look like they fit, and both those guys I think have a bright future. And the good thing is they will only get better.
Questions? Anything up top?
Ordinarily, an FCS game might be a game where you could rest some people, but with Cavante having not played much in the game, if he's available, is it important for him to get snaps in this game?
Absolutely, and again, I don't want to try to sound cliche when I say this, but we get 12 opportunities together, and we want to make each one of them count. There's several things that we have to work on getting better, and I really want to approach it that way, where we focus on us and making sure we hold ourselves to a standard. And there's a lot of things that we need to get fixed, and I think that we need to approach it that way.
I know Jalen's out now, but with that touchdown that he had, I think was the last one to return a kickoff for a touchdown also. What makes him so good at that?
Well, I saw him do it in high school too, when I went to watch him play, and he just has a knack for it. Obviously he's an athletic guy, but he works at it, but he just kind of got a natural feel. Some guys just kind of have that natural it factor when it comes to returning kicks, and he definitely had it. So that was a big momentum swing in the game and a huge part of us in the momentum. So I hate it for him, but really happy he was able to make that contribution and helping us get that win.
Yeah, what role do you want him to see him play now that he can't be on the field?
That's the he'll be out with the surgery, but you got to be very careful when guys get injured. They don't get removed from the team. He's a big part of this team and a big part of the leadership role in that secondary and with the defense. So just having him around and being there for moral support and pushing those guys and helping be an extra coach on the field.
Matt, two things. One, watching some other games back, it seemed like a lot of teams having issues with the mechanics of the game, personnel not on the field when they need to be. Talk about that aspect of this game for you, and also a lot of targeting this past weekend and how you feel that your guys have handled that so far.
Yeah, so my biggest concerns going into the game was the 40-second clock after the kickoffs because we have two starters, DK and Dawson Knox both start on kickoff return. So that's a very fast turnaround. But I think we did a really good job preparing, and we actually went as far as to time it to see how far we would have, because you don't want to start your series 1st and 15 because of delay of game. So, but I thought Coach Longo and the staff did a good job preparing us for that. It's also the case after a score, the extra point, it happens much faster. So you have to be prepared for that. If you're celebrating in the far end zone, that clock is running. So I think we did a good job preparing for that. I was a little interested to see how the fair catch was gonna go about. I think it provided us a chance for a touchdown by not fair catching, but I think there was one that was 3 yards deep that we should have fair caught. So I think some of the new rules were interesting as far as targeting goes. There were several. It seemed like just even in the Miami LSU game last night, and then 2 in our game. So I think you got to be really aware of your target area. I think it's just, if it's an emphasis and on that and safety, I think you got to be aware of your target area.
When you watch the film, did anybody that maybe you weren't anticipating being a big part, you go, oh, whoa, we might be able to get some help out of this guy?
Jaquez Jones showed up to me that way. He seems like he's got a lot of natural football instincts. Was very pleased to see that. He's probably the one that jumps out to me. Luke Logan, being able to, I knew he would be. He's a good kicker, but you just don't know going out there to be 4 for 4 is a good thing.
Questions up top?
Coach, is there any extra urgency to keep guys on schedule, on task with an FCS opponent coming in when you have a big SEC opener the following week?
Yeah, again, I think that there's plenty of improvement that we have to make from week 1 to week 2, and we get 12 opportunities together, and I want to take advantage of each and every one and hold ourselves to a certain standard about the way that we perform and put a product on the field that everybody says, hey, I'm proud to be an Ole Miss Rebel when we watch those guys play.
And second, not since Bum Phillips has anyone worn a cowboy hat on the sidelines. Any thoughts?
Thanks for bringing that up.
Look good.
The fact that we got the win, it was okay. I got a lot of, hey, Matt, great win, but with that,
it worked for Bum.
With that text message. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it. No, sir. I'm not a hat guy.
I'm sure that didn't get tweeted out, did it?
No, it did. It didn't. It got sent directly to me in a text
Matt,
message. Yeah.
Over here. Question. With Ruggs banged up all week, Dietrich Bing Dukes played a lot. What does that rotation look like from the Mike linebacker?
No, I mean, it's going to be by committee. Momo played fairly well. Dietrich stepped in and did a good job. Willie played pretty good, and then you'll see Jaquez in there too. So I just think you'll see all 4 of those guys. And again, when one guy goes down, we'll have to step up, and hopefully we'll get Cavante back too.
Matt, kind of along those lines, how did you think Sonogo did getting people lined up? And then I know he moved to outside when Ruggs went out for a while.
Good. I thought, and again, it's hard to tell when you watch a TV copy, but I thought that's one of the things that we did way better than at any time last year was just our communication. There's a lot of communication from the back end to the front end. I thought that was a big improvement. I think a lot of that is having the continuity and just being in the second year of the system. But our communication and the signing off, that everybody was on the same page, was much better.
You mentioned Luke Logan. He was talking to us last week about how he really worked on the mental side of his game. What have you seen throughout the fall? And then on that kick, the 39-yard one where they try to ice him a little bit.
Well, we've tried to put him in that situation. We did it the Thursday before the game, trying to just put him in a situation in front of the whole team, and then right before he kicks it, call a fake timeout. Just trying to put him in that situation as many times as you can. And again, it's not a game situation, but you just try to recreate the moment for him as many times as you can. But I do think that's going to give him a lot of confidence on the mental side going forward.
Matt Kingsbury said that crime kept him off balance with a lot of different fronts and a lot of different coverages, mixing them up well. Is that the benefit of being second year in the system?
No doubt. Texas Tech was a big play offense. And with the exception of the one, the great catch to Vasher, we did a really good job of keeping the top on the coverage and not giving up, big passes down the field. So was pleased with that, but he did a good job of mixing up cover 3 zone, cover 2 zone. We went to a little bit more cover 2 to stop the screens. They hit a couple hitches, and I thought Coach McGriff did an outstanding job of making those adjustments to take away the screens and then mixed up enough man to keep them honest. So I think maybe not getting comfortable as a play caller, but an outstanding job by Coach McGriff, for sure.
Any more questions for Coach?
You mentioned Alex Givens. What's his status?
He was good. Yeah, he was good. He got banged up early or sometime in the middle of the game, but he came back and finished.